Did you know that within 5 years, nearly 70% of formerly incarcerated individuals will be rearrested? But what if there's a powerful, often overlooked solution right within our communities, right now? Today, we're diving into how healing circles and grassroots support systems aren't just reducing recidivism, they're sparking entrepreneurial energy and fostering remarkable personal growth for those striving to rebuild their lives. This episode explores a more hopeful path for reintegration, one that not only heals, but empowers and uplifts. Stay with me because this is the Conviction Fiction. All right, welcome back to the Conviction Fiction. I'm your host, Antoine Rivers, and today we're talking about breaking free, the reintegration challenge, and the journey from prison back into society. Now, we know that this isn't a straight path. In fact, for nearly 70% of the formerly incarcerated individuals, it's a return to the same system they just fought to escape. All right, these stats are staggering. Within 5 years, most will be rearrested. And what's that sending? What is it that's sending them back? Is it a lack of trying, or is it a system that's just designed to fail? Now, there are some harsh realities of post-incarceration life. We talk about them a lot on the Conviction Fiction because when someone comes home from prison, they are greeted by a world that feels as foreign as the one they left behind. The stigma of incarceration doesn't just fade, it sticks to you like a shadow that you can't outrun. I've been faced with it. Is that reality of, I had to find housing, I had to secure a job, I had to rebuild relationships with loved ones, all while dealing with the trauma of what I've just been through. So for many, those are insurmountable challenges. And that's what we try to dispel on the Conviction Fiction because the systemic barriers don't stop there. There's a lack of access to adequate health care. There's mental health support that many of us don't have. And even basic things like, I don't know, public transportation. How can you get back and forth? There's also emotional toll. There's anger, the shame, the fear. All of that creeps into your mind every time you see a police officer or every time you apply for a job and get rejected. Now, I'm going to stop right there because it's not about excuses, but these are challenges. These are real challenges that people face. And then the first thing people will say was like, you shouldn't have done what you've done, right? You should have did what you did. You wouldn't have been put in this situation. But therein lies the power of second chances. Now, traditional approaches, why do they normally fail? All right, so traditional approaches to reintegration focus on external factors like maybe just need to get a job, you just find a house, but they miss something very instrumental in the whole process, and that's the emotional and psychological aspects of reentry. All right, so what about the trauma from years of incarceration? All right. What about the need for someone to listen and say, hey, I've been there? This absence of emotional support often leads to relapse into old habits or even worse, a return to prison. And that's where the healing circle comes in. Places like the Conviction Fiction podcast. It's not just a space for people to vent their frustrations. It's a space for people to heal and rebuild together. Now, the whole concept of a healing circle is a new foundation on some old stuff. Like they're not therapy and they're not just a place to share feelings. They're a place to rebuild, reframe, and reconnect, especially after incarceration. So what are these healing circles? All right. For me, a healing circle is grounded in the power of shared experience. There's spaces where people come to talk together now and listen and heal. Unlike traditional therapy, which might involve a professional guiding the conversation, healing circles are led by the participants. It's like those AA meetings or those NA meetings, right? There's no hierarchy. There's no therapist on a pedestal talking about, hey, you should do this, you should do that. It's just your peers sharing their truths. right? No matter how they may come across. It's about acknowledging trauma, giving the people a space to share their pain. And here's the most important part: you need to help people feel like they belong again, right? And a lot of people, I get a lot of feedback from, YouTube and comments that say, hey, you're just on there like making excuses for prison. No, we've done that. We've been to prison. We've conquered that. But, getting back into society, we don't want people to feel bad for us or to make us feel as if we are expecting them to coalesce or follow along with what we got going on. It's more so like my experience is different from yours, and there are certain needs that I need in order to be successful. There's certain needs that are inherent with any person that's been incarcerated, especially for a long time, that they need to reintegrate back into society. If not, then they will be put in a position where they're going to return back because they don't know how to deal with society as a whole. They don't know how to deal with the emotions. They don't know how to deal with the trauma. They don't know how to deal with the challenges or stigmas that society may place on them. And that's what this show is about. It's about the power of shared experience. Now, there's a certain magic that happens when you realize that someone else understands your pain, no matter what you've been through, whether it's on a victim side or offender side. If people understand where you are experiencing pain, it's a whole different dynamic. Because when you're in prison, you don't have that. Everyone's fighting their own battles. But in a healing circle, you're able to connect with others who live the same life, who's experienced the same struggles. Let's talk about one of the guests that we had on, Ebony Stover of Dream Builders Foundation, for instance. She was on the show. Her story is a powerful testament to the healing that happens when individuals come together in a shared space. Her program helps returning citizens reconnect with their communities because healing isn't just about self-help. It's about healing each other. Now, there are plenty of psychological benefits of these healing circles, and it's not about emotions. That's what a lot of people fail to realize, is that healing circles or just being reintegrated in society isn't about emotions. Oh, they owe me something. No, there are psychological benefits to this kind of healing, right? Research has shown that when people feel seen, heard, and understood, their stress levels decrease, their empathy grows, their sense of self-worth rebuilds. The very act of sharing your story with others helps reduce trauma, not just for you, but for the entire group, because someone will look at you and say, hey, I experienced that same thing. I'm not alone. This isn't a feel-good kumbaya situation. That's not what we're trying to do on this podcast, but there is science behind it. When we share our pain, we stop carrying it alone, okay? And they just don't exist in a vacuum. When it comes to healing circles, they don't just exist in a vacuum. Once people are healed, they turn to the community for more support. And that's when something incredible happens, right? These extensions go out into the broader community. The power of a healing circle doesn't end when the session is over. It extends into the community. Community-led programs become the safety nets that allow formerly incarcerated individuals like myself to rebuild, whether it's providing housing, mentorship, legal aid, or just job training. These programs give individuals the resources they need to succeed. Take Beyond the Chains, for example. They've been helping people transition back into society, offering everything from emotional support to practical job skills to starting your own business workshops. It's these types of organizations that make reintegration possible. And we cannot forget about the roles of volunteers. These are the people that were not incarcerated, but see the value in helping those who are reintegrating. These volunteers, mentors, and community organizations play a huge role in making these support networks work. I want to give a special shout out to Robin Grable over at Ascend Talent. The Ascend Collective, and then there's Talent. um, where they actually provide AI driven jobs, wherein instead of worrying about your resume, where you've been, et cetera, they focus on the skills that you have. These are the types of organizations or the people who will provide guidance and support for someone trying to rebuild their life. Um, I know there's a lot of flack about inclusivity and having an inclusive environment. Um, the goal of our podcast and the goal of the conviction fiction and my mission is to create an environment that's inclusive, where returning citizens aren't just seen as a burden but as an asset. As more people begin to understand the value of reintegration, the more we can create spaces for growth, for new opportunities, and for community wide change. That's what this podcast is about and what my work entails. We also encourage entrepreneurship as empowerment, because if we were to connect the dots, healing circles and community support create the perfect environment for something powerful, and that's entrepreneurship. You get turned down for a job because of the little checkbox of have you committed a felon? What about those skills and what can you do? Because it may be an opportunity for you to start your own business, to become that entrepreneur. And there's a link between healing and entrepreneurship, because once someone is supported emotionally and feels a sense of belonging, they're ready to take those risks, entrepreneurial risks. And that's where businesses come into play, whether it's starting a tech company or making and selling goods, or entrepreneurship allows individuals to take control of their future. One great example is the work being done by the folks from Inmates to Entrepreneurs, a program that helps individuals start businesses after incarceration. Um, they give returning citizens the tools, mentorship, and confidence they need to succeed. And that's what we try to highlight on our show. We talk about the success stories of those businesses launched by formerly incarcerated individuals. Because if you've been listening, you've seen it firsthand, you've heard it firsthand. People who come out of prison and take what they learn, not just in terms of skills, but life lessons, and created something amazing. Like Claudia Shivers from Queen Coffee Bean, who turned a passion for coffee into a thriving business, right? And then you got Zeke with the Sand Turtles down in Florida. He was working on body shops. He was working in a body shop. He's working on bodies. He's not a tattoo artist. He was working in a body shop and designed a tool using AI and a 3D printer to make his job easier. And he started selling the tools worldwide. And that's the ripple effect of entrepreneurship, right? There's one thing. It's not just about one person, because the idea of entrepreneurship can uplift entire communities. Because when someone starts a business, they don't just employ themselves, they can employ others, like Joshua Nowak out in California with his t-shirt business, where he basically hires only felons, right? They can't get a job. Come work for me, I'll pay you, right? And it also provides, when they do this, the opportunity to mentor. They can create a cycle of opportunity. It's a ripple effect that extends far beyond any one individual. Now, as we know on this show, excuse me, I'm gonna get a cup of water. Have a little drink. What is important, right? What is important? So, um, let's go back to what this show is about. This show has always been about building futures for those that have been locked up. Right? I've been incarcerated, so to speak. I've been out for several years, but even where I am today, there are still other levels that I would like to achieve. And I know for a lot of people that are listen to the show, they have achieved certain things, but there are things that they want to achieve more of. And it's important. So for our listeners, what can you do to help? How can you make a real impact in this fight for reintegration? Well, there are ways you can get involved. You can contribute. You can donate to organizations like Dream Builders Foundation or Beyond the Chains or Matioc or Inmates to Entrepreneurs. You can volunteer your time, whether it's mentoring, helping with resume building, or offering job opportunities. You can be the difference, and it doesn't cost you anything but your time. We're not getting on here asking for your money or your dollars. Right? It's important that, we get out of that stigma or change the narrative when it comes to people that are returning home. We don't just want your money, right? There are economic and social benefits just for you volunteering your time or investing in reintegration programs, because it isn't just the right thing to do. It's a smart investment. Every second that you spend with a reintegration program, it saves taxpayers money. Does that sound crazy? Every second that you spend with a reintegration program saves taxpayers money. Let's think about that, because maybe you go in and you tell your story, right? Someone in the crowd, someone that is just returning home, they listen to you and say, hey, I have an idea, or what you said resonated with me. I'm going to try this. I'm going to start a business. I'm going to, rely on my faith. I know that there are people out there just like me. It saves taxpayers money because this person ain't going back to jail. It reduces recidivism. It decreases incarceration costs and strengthens local economies by creating successful businesses and their owners who pay taxes and hire other people. It's creating a just and prosperous society for all. So just your volunteering, sharing your story, lending an ear, not just your dollars, can inspire and save taxpayers money. Ultimately, it's not about, it's more, to me, it's more about creating a just and prosperous society. It's about ensuring that everyone, no matter their past, has the opportunity to succeed. Because when one person succeeds, we all succeed. And that's the power of healing circles, community support, and entrepreneurship. This episode wasn't just about the struggles of reintegration. We all know them. We all know about the dangers of prison. This episode is about the opportunities that exist when we come together, support each other, and help each other rebuild. Together, we can break down the barriers to success and create a world where second chances are not only possible, they're thriving. I want to always thank you for listening, and stay tuned for more stories of transformation, hope, and opportunity. I had a couple of technical difficulties on yesterday's episode. I had Morgan McFadden on. Expect a new interview with her coming up, and she's going to talk about the need for or the ability, finding the confidence to ask for help, especially when you're dealing with recovery. We also have Bill Carslin coming up within the next few episodes, and Roel Lopez, who happens to have led a certain type of life, changed it around, is now helping youth in his community. Now, if you are ready to transform your life today, No Turning Back, The Journey Home and the Work Within is more than just a book. It's a roadmap for redemption, resilience, and rebuilding. In this deeply personal and powerful narrative, I share my journey from incarceration to empowerment, and I kind of weave together stories of struggle, growth, and transformation with a little help from my friends. With raw honesty and a message of hope, this book is a must read for anyone seeking to break free from the past, embrace second chances, and build a better future. So if you are ready to turn the page on your story, No Turning Back will inspire you to confront your challenges, embrace your potential, and take that first step toward change. Get your copy today and start your own journey toward healing and transformation. That's the show for today, guys. Thanks for joining. Talk to you soon.